You don't need.
Welcome to State Fair Community College Board of Trustee meeting on December 16th, 2025. We'll welcome some of the new faces here in just a little bit. We're going to an approval of the November 20th, 2025 board meeting minutes. I'm going to entertain a motion.
So moved.
Say aye.
Aye.
And sign. Motion passes. Approval of the agenda, and of course, all of us have been sent prior to the meeting as well. I would entertain a motion to approve.
Moved second.
At least I'm listing it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The same sign. Motion passes. Lisa, do we have any citizens' comments?
None.
Okay, thank you. Now it's those new employee introductions. So we look forward to meeting some new faces.
First up is Dean Rush.
Right. I'd like to introduce our new sonography program director. This is Erin Morris. Erin joins us from Warrensburg, Missouri. Grew up in Green Valley, graduated high school in Green Valley, and went on to be a student at MU. She has a bachelor's degree in biology, and she got her master's degree with an emphasis in diagnostic medical sonography. She was also an MU cheerleader. She didn't include that in her write-up, but so Erin, she has been published twice in the Journal of Diagnostic Medical Sonography, and she won a national prize or award for ultrasound research. So I know that we're going to benefit from all of those types of skills she has here at the college. So Erin is registered in abdomen, OBGYN, breast, vascular, and adult echo. She's basically like a needle in a haystack, and we are very lucky to have someone with so many skills and talents as our program director. She's been working in ultrasound for the last 13 years, and she's super excited about being in education. So we're excited about that too. She married her high school sweetheart, Brandon. They have 2 kids. Milo is 8 and Rosie is 4. They have 2 Dobermans, Zeus and Thor, and a cat named Wee Woo. I didn't name him. Her kids are involved in sport, and she enjoys shopping, and we're excited. Has already demonstrated amazing skills for not having ever worked in higher education. So,
Erin, welcome to our haystack.
Oh, thank you. Really excited to be here. Really appreciate all of you, and just everybody has been so accepting and supportive, and that's different than everywhere I've ever worked before. So I'm really excited to Allison was kind of taking me under her wing, and I'm super excited to be here. So thank you.
We welcome you, Erin.
It's very tough.
I don't have quite the detail that Allison had on Erin, but I talked about people who were here to make sure the haystack stays in place. As you can actually find the needle in the haystack. So I'm really thrilled to, we have 2 very enthusiastic new employees in our custodial department. I'll start with Kenneth Schulte. I told Kenneth I can remember his name very well, because I had a very good friend growing up named Schulte. So it's not him. But Kenneth is actually an alumni of SFCC, or alumnus. Alumni is one person. I used to be an alumnus of SFCC. That's here you were actually born in Hawaii. And but moved here when he was very young. He does have a 9-year-old son. He is primarily in charge of the residence hall, which is the original residence hall. So that's his primary building there right now, which I'm sure has challenges both from the age and the people. That's great. He loves the outdoors. He likes playing guitar and piano. Anything else you would like to add? I mean, we've been here, they both just started here, so he's just learning everything, but he's been enthusiastic and enjoyed meeting.
Appreciate the opportunity to work with you guys. Seems like a good family, you have here to. And like this, I haven't had any.
Roanna started about the same time. She's moved here from Newburgh, West Virginia,
Yeah.
Pennsylvania. You've been here a couple of years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got 3 kids?
Yeah.
Yep, they're 25, 22, and 13. Yeah, she and I had a good talk. I know she is, working in the executive building, speaking of nursing, taking care of all your nursing folks. So, I mean, that's probably a very good match. I know she seems to enjoy working up there and is very thrilled by the building, but, anything you like, it says here, you like the outdoors, fishing, your family, all that stuff too. If you'd like to add.
I just appreciate the opportunity to be here and work with you all and take care of your building. It's a beautiful college. I went to college in Belmont, Ohio. And started out criminal justice, but for a family and everything, but I went back later on for welding.
There you go, guys. If we ever need something. But I'm not a step down.
My dad was a carpenter, my mom was a nurse. So
Wow.
I'm very thrilled to be here.
Would you go up listening Loretta?
Yeah. I can't remember what her name is. She's on the upstairs. She calls me Loretta already. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Nathan, thank you. On our team. We have one addition to the agenda, and Daniel Hamilton is here to introduce.
Zachary Zimmer has been with us here. He's been with us just over 2 months, actually, just hadn't gotten to a board meeting yet, but he's our network engineer. So you might ask what that is. I always say in the infrastructure business, if we're doing our job well, you don't really know we exist, right? When we turn it on the light switch, you don't really think about the power plant operator or lineman, but if they weren't doing their job, we'd all be in the dark. So this role is similar for the college. Network engineer, make sure the Wi-Fi works, web pages load, the network is secure, and everybody gets to do their jobs without going back to pen and paper. So you might not see him out and about as much as long as things are working well, but he's definitely proven himself already to be a valuable asset to the team. Zach is also a State Fair alumnus. So thank you. Graduated with his Associate of Applied Science in Computer and Network Administration in 2022. He completed that while also working at the Warsaw R9 School District, which is where he was when we picked him up. Spare time, he enjoys staying connected by spending time with friends, taking day or weekend trips, watching travel vlog. When I asked him what he liked most about working with SFCC, he shared a very similar theme here, the sense of community and genuinely supportive working environment. We transition into the new role very positive.
Welcome.
Well, we welcome each of you, and it is, a wonderful place to be, and that you'll fit in very well. So this is a time when you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but if you so choose, you can go at any time.
Where's the night shift? Midnight.
My pleasure seeing you all,
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer like 12.
All right, next on the agenda is the warrant for November of 2025.
For during the month of November of 2025, the college dispersed $6,455,691. Of that, $602,118 was for the residential construction, $139,606 for the for Septagon for the dental hygiene renovation, and the outdoor athletic complex was $787,988 of that. The other amounts as shown on the warrant.
Entertainment to approve.
Moved. There.
All in favor, say aye. The same sign. Passes. Keith, ready for the next one? Audit.
Next is the highlight of the year. that I'll wait for with bated breath for every December. But in all honesty, it's a very important part of what we do here. It's a very important part of our mission to be sure that we are managing our finances correctly and accurately, that they were doing them properly. And we use KPM to come through and audit these for us, to give us their opinion on what we're doing, how we've done. They help me at least make sense of a lot of the numbers. And so this year, again, we'll have Rebecca with us. Just for a while now. To let her present some highlights of the audit. We'll come back and have you accept the audit as presented.
Thank you very much. Time flies, doesn't it? I feel like I was just here and it's been a year. Like Keith said, I'm Rebecca Baker. I'm a CPA and shareholder with KPM CPAs out of Springfield, and we have audited the college's financial statements as of June 30, 2025. So you're almost 6 months past that time period. So I'm just going to briefly review the highlights. If you'd like to follow along, you should have a copy of the report next to you. And we'll start on page 3. Probably the most important part of this whole round report is our independent auditor's report. So we perform our audit to determine if the college's financial statements are presented fairly in all material respects in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles, and then we issue an opinion based on our audit results. So we have to gather a lot of evidence to make sure we agree with the numbers that are presented here. We look at a lot of invoices, we verify revenues, we confirm revenues, and we send your banks letters and they tell us what your cash balances are. We confirm your outstanding debt balances to make sure that the information that we're seeing here is accurate. And we have issued an unmodified or clean opinion, which is the best opinion that you can get on your financial statement. So congratulations. Okay, next we'll go to page 7. Page 7 is where the management's discussion and analysis begins. It's about 6 pages long. This section is a required part of your audit. It's called required supplementary information. And we do not audit this section. The reason I point it out is because it gives a really good overview of what happened at the college for the year. So if you don't read anything else in this bound book, this section, you should be able to read it and get a good idea of how the college did financially. So I do encourage you to read this section. Next, we'll go over some financial information on page 14. Oh, I'm sorry, page 15. On page 15, this is the statement of net position for the college. We consider the college and the foundation as one reporting unit because the foundation is set up strictly for the college. So this statement of net position is the combined net position and includes the foundation. If you go to page 48, you'll see the breakdown of the detail between the college and the foundation. So we'll go over this real quick. Total assets for the year end were 138.8 million. This is an increase of about 12.7 million for the year. Cash actually decreased during the year for the college and the foundation. The college decreased 9.1 million from 29 million down to 20 million. And that's because at the end of fiscal year 24, you had 12 million of debt proceeds that you hadn't spent. And you had some big projects going on. So you've spent those funds during the year. And the foundation actually had an increase in cash of 3.2 million. The reason for the net increase was 19.2 million in new capital assets. You guys have had a lot of projects going on, like we said, the dental hygiene clinic. I know Keith just mentioned each of these, the Ella Brock building, the outdoor athletic complex, and the residence hall. All of those had increases during the year. And during the audit, Keith actually took us on a really nice tour of all of these new buildings. So I can attest that they're real. You know, sometimes as auditors, we say, okay, show us these new assets that you have. So we got a really nice tour and everything is beautiful. I can't wait to see the outdoor complex. It was just in the beginning stages when we were here back in October. Okay, if you turn the page, total liabilities were 64.2 million at year end. This was a decrease of about 1.2 million. Outstanding debt actually increased 2.3 million. And you issued some new debt for the Ella Brock building for the remaining part of that. And then accounts payable decreased $1 million and your net pension liability decreased 2.5 million. So that's accounts for that decrease. And then net position was 79.1 million at year end. And that was an increase of 11.6 million from the previous year. The college increase was 6.9 million and the foundation increased 4.7 million. So the total net position did increase, which is always good to see. Okay, next we will go to page 17 and look at product expenses. Total operating revenues were 30.9 million for the year. This was an increase of 2.6 million. The majority of that increase was in state and local grants. You received some extra MoXels funding this year. That increased 2.7 million from the previous year. Total operating expenses were 54.1 million, an increase of 1.4, the significant increase in salaries of 800,000 and then scholarships of 463,000. You have your non-operating revenues. Significant changes, the non-exchange grant revenue, which is Pell, and some ARPA funding that you received was up 556,000. Investment income was up 675,000, and then your interest and fees on debt was up. The expense was up 395,000. So the net increase in net position was 11.6 million, like we discussed a few minutes ago. 0.9 million of that's related to the college and 4.7 to the foundation. Okay, next we'll go to page 22. Page 22 is where the notes to the financial statements begin. They're about 30 pages long, and we do audit the notes. We issue an opinion on the notes. They are the financial statements, and they will just give you more detailed information on your capital assets, what types of investments you're holding, what cash is restricted for, future debt service, et cetera. So I do encourage you to read the notes in conjunction with the financial statement. Next, we'll go to page 48. I just wanted to point out this page. I won't go over it. Page 48 is where the combining statements begin. If you want to see the breakdown between the college and the foundation and the amounts that make it to that statement of net position, I just wanted to point this out so that you can see the differences in those if you prefer. Next, we'll go to page 56. So if you go to 56 and then turn a page, you'll see the single audit reports. But one other audit that we complete while we're here is the federal compliance audit. Anytime the college spends over $750,000, you're required to have a federal compliance audit. And there are certain criteria on what programs we have to test. So any program that you have spending of $750,000 or more on has to be tested at least once every 3 years. Student financial aid typically always is tested just because it's kind of a higher risk area. There's a lot of complications to that program. So we always test that. We did have to test one other program, and it was the TRIO program, which is the Upward Bound and the student services. So if you turn to page 8, this is where the listing of all of the awards that the college spent during the year. Page 8, you can see it is categorized by the federal agency that provides you funding. College receives most of your funding from the Department of Education with the Pell and direct loan, and the TRIO is also in that section. But if you turn the page, then you can see the college had about 16.7 million in federal funding. Then the last one, over to page 11, it kind of summarizes our federal compliance audit. And it's called the Schedule of Findings and Question Costs. So this is where we report if there were any findings, the federal government. So we look at your internal control over financial reporting, and we do not have any findings to report there. And then on the federal awards, the federal government gives us a compliance supplement and gives us a list of things they want us to test on the programs that we're testing. So we go through that testing and make sure that you're in compliance with all of those grant requirements. And as you can see, it says we have no report. So that's always really good. I wanted to point out, so we tested the student financial assistance cluster, and Angel Mefford, I know, oversees that program, and it's very uncommon to not have findings in that program. It's a very technical program. There's a lot of things, easy ways that you can make mistakes. But you're one of the few colleges that we audit, and we audit 7. It hasn't had a finding in many years, and I think that's a testament to the people that are running that program. They are very knowledgeable in that area, and they do a really, really good job. So I would like you to be aware of that it's very uncommon to not have a finding. And then the TRIO cluster, we worked with Jeremy Lehman and Curtis Grice on those programs, and Jessica did a really good job of keeping on them to make sure we were getting everything. But we appreciate everybody's help with those federal programs because there's a lot of information that we have to look at in a short period of time. And then, so ultimately, this report will get submitted to the federal government. I will work with Keith and we'll make sure that gets submitted in the next week or two. But then the Department of Education will pull your audit report and make sure that you're having your federal compliance audit, and then they look to see if you had any findings that you need to address. Okay, the last thing I want to go over, if you have the bound copy at the very back, there's a management recommendation letter. Has a number 1 about way down the page. This is just where we have the opportunity to make recommendations for the college, if there's new accounting pronouncements, or if there's anything that we think needs to be noted. So number 1 is new accounting pronouncements. Restatement number 103 will be in for fiscal year 26. And I think the only changes, there's some changes to the management's discussion and analysis portion of the audit. So there's some different criteria that you have to report there. So I don't think it's going to be a major change for the college. I think GASB statement number 104 is disclosure of certain capital assets. So you have to present certain assets in your capital asset note differently than you currently are, and that's effective for June 30, 2026. So neither of these will have much of an impact on the financial statement. If you turn the page, number 2 is cybersecurity and internal controls. This is just a general recommendation. I think we kind of change it up every year, but I know that the college is on top of this. You're making sure your student information and your accounting information is safe, but we're just reminding you to make sure that you have training for your staff to make sure that everybody's aware that it's very easy to compromise your information or click on something in an email, and just make sure that you're still constantly reviewing your processes. Okay, does anyone have any questions about anything? Okay, well, the last thing I would like to let the board know is, it was Jessica's, I don't know if it's your first whole year for the audit, but it was the first time you were here for the audit, on your own, because I know Diane retired last year, but Jessica did an amazing job. She's done an amazing job with the accounting. And she's really good at getting people to get things for us. She was constantly making sure we had everything we needed. And if we didn't, she would make sure that we got it in a timely manner. So we really appreciate that. But we come in contact with a lot of people on campus for the federal programs, and the business office provides a lot of information. Linda Church downstairs. And then Mary and Megan provides a lot of information for the foundation as we're performing that audit as well. So we really appreciate everybody's help.
All right, any questions?
Thank you so much.
Thank
We're
you.
glad you had a good opinion and shared that with.
Thank you.
So.
Getting all emotional in there or something.
Sure you peep out, huh?
Yeah, I gotta make Springfield.
We did good.
Really quick. So it is recommended the Board of Trustees accept the audit results of the annual financial report. Related information is conducted and presented by KPMG PHVC for the year ended June 30th, 2025.
Entertain a motion to.
Over here, yeah. We're taking.
All in favor, say aye. Same sign. Motion passes, and we appreciate the professionalism and the detail, and thank you. Yeah. Appreciate all that you do.
No troubles home.
There is some supplemental information in the, that's included in the report showing some comparisons to prior years. We had a very strong, we had a very strong year financially. I attribute that to everybody at the college working hard at that, being deeply aware of they spend and spending it wisely and appropriately. We continue to strengthen our financial position so we can be prepared for whatever might lie ahead.
Like we're ready for institutional.
Do you
Yes, sir.
want Keith to address the?
Was that next?
It's actually.
After this, okay. Great, thank you.
Hello, Merry Christmas. So it is my pleasure today to give an institutional report with Miss Amy Jackson. She's going to come up for the second segment on the paramedic partnership we've been working on. So several years ago, in 2022, really whenever I took over as dean, there was some work being done at that time to try to establish an avenue for EMTs to advance their skill set to paramedic in our service area. Also, it was a dream of Dara Bigler's to have a paramedic program at State Fair Community College. It is a high cost program, and there was really some hesitation at the time with, you know, what were the workforce needs and could we afford to do this? So I'm happy to report that a little bit of an innovative strategy has come our way to be able to partner with MU Healthcare and become a satellite location for their paramedic program. So that's what we're going to tell you about. So if you're not familiar with the function of a paramedic, they work within the emergency management services scope. They typically will work for an ambulance district, but paramedics are also employed in hospitals. There's some advanced paramedic skills that are employed in community locations. So a paramedic is a form of an EMT. So the EMT basic are typically the drivers of the ambulances with a more basic skill set. And then the EMTP is the paramedic with a more advanced skill set. And they're pretty much running the show with the patient care aspect on an ambulance. So that's kind of the historical perspective, the job role. So in terms of workforce data, we do hear from our area off and on a strong need for paramedic workforce training. The annual wage, the mean in Missouri is $55,960. So data wise, in terms of openings for the projected workforce 2022 to 2032, Merrick data says that Missouri on a whole is going to have an increase of 6.44% in needs for paramedic workforce. When you look at the West Central region where we are, it's even higher than that at 0.8% increase in needed workforce. So I wanted to give you some of that information. So our journey with MU Healthcare started in spring. They have a well-established program. They've been in this business for a long time, and not to be confused with the university. They're not affiliated with the university at all. It's all through MU Healthcare and MU Extension. So they have partnerships with 4 ambulance districts in Missouri. So they have experience with the satellite location model, but we're their first community college partner. And I'll say the first time they ever visited Clinton campus, which is where the satellite will be located, they were thrilled because we have all the educational area, space, equipment, and all the things. And they had like goo-goo eyes for this model because most ambulance districts don't come with classrooms and projectors and all of the things that we have. So they're pretty excited about it too. An additional partner in this model is Golden Valley Memorial Healthcare. So they have agreed to partner with us, and they will be providing the instructor for partnership. So we've already been in works with them, many meetings together to iron out how this might look going forward. So far we have an MOU established with MU Healthcare for the paramedic partnership. And then we do have it written into our MOEC sales grant that is responsible for our renovation for the hygiene clinic. It was written into that so that we have some startup fund to get the equipment and technology and disposables that we need for the program now. So I'm going to turn it over to Amy at this point. She's going to give you a few more details about it because I didn't mention it's a non-credit program, not a for-credit model at this point. So take it over, Allison.
Yes. Good evening. So as Allison mentioned, we are going to offer the paramedic program as non-credit through the Learning Force in partnership with MU Healthcare, offering this at our Clinton campus, which is a very exciting partnership in addition with Golden Valley Memorial Healthcare. It is a 51-week program, 1,166 total hours of coursework. So that's 516 classroom hours and then 650 clinical hours will be part of this program. We are expecting a minimum of 8 students in our first cohort with a maximum of 12. As Allison mentioned, Golden Valley has generously offered up one of their full-time staff to be our primary instructor for this program. So the classroom portion will meet 1 day a week. We're targeting Thursdays. And then there will be the clinical time also included, which MU Healthcare will manage all of they will have a program manager and they will manage all of the clinical for us as well. And their oversight is very important as that credential, that accreditation goes through MU Health. Plan to start this program in October. And that aligns really well with how MU Healthcare has their other satellite spin-ups programmed now, where they start them either in April or October. We are targeting October because the Clinton Tech Center is one area that we see an opportunity to recruit students into the paramedic program. So they'll be completing their EMT program in May. And cannot start a paramedic program until they finish that training. So that will give us time to start marketing the program very soon. We're already in communication with MU Healthcare, working on some co-branding to start marketing within the next couple of months. Again, targeting those Clinton Tech students and others that Allison and her team has had contact with throughout the years as we've been working on this opportunity for our region. We have affiliation agreements on clinical sites sent out to Golden Valley, Bothwell Regional Healthcare, and Cass Regional. The cost for the program is about $7,000 per student. And there is some financial aid that is available for students and various scholarships also. We do have, with our partnership with MU Healthcare, we have a 70-30 split of that tuition. So the students will actually be paying tuition to MU Healthcare through their university extension program, then we'll receive 70% of that tuition back to the college to pay for the instructor and equipment and consumables as well, and supporting that program and as we continue to grow and outreach. We are identifying some other opportunities to help offset the cost of equipment and consumables. There's a JC Smith Foundation that we are working with to support that ongoing cost. As I mentioned, we do have marketing in the works. One of the pieces that we're currently working on too is the full accreditation through MU Healthcare. That was contingent upon getting our primary instructor on board, and now we have that person secured. Again, a partnership with Golden Valley to do that. So we're working through that accreditation process now to be able to be ready to market the program and accept students in. And then we're also going to be working on that credit for prior learning pathway for students that complete the paramedic program and have interest and opportunity to further their careers in healthcare. That is all I have. Do you have any questions for Allison or I about the program? A lot of work.
Well, I compliment the team for this non-traditional approach. So about finding ways to meet the needs of our community. We need our community for this. And this is a great partnership to help. I think that really epitomizes what we do is College being agile and. Good job.
We have to give credit to Dr. Mertz, though. He's the one who originally kind of created this path. So he's been talking to me about paramedics since I think the day we met. Oh. It's a great model and it's, it just makes sense. It's not gonna cost us an arm and a leg. It's good for students. It's, I think,
Workforce development in the community college rather than. In an educational setting rather than in a Millis district or limit setting. This seems logically that the community college is the ideal setting for it to help find partners. Advancing from EMT netting and great be at the forefront of what should be a transition statewide to community colleges being means by which transition occurred. Dr. Mers has promised that we all get to drive an ambulance with the siren on.
I did that for one president. I don't know if I did. I'm gonna say maybe in the front, not put up. That down.
Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, next on the agenda is the Moody's SFCC credit opinion, and of course, this will be.
Could you lead us on some Christmas carols or something?
Yeah.
Maybe Keith,
How about a birthday? So.
not before we began, but I was busy. We do have a birthday tomorrow. Our leader, Dr. Bates, has a birthday.
It's his 50th.
Something like that. So I guess we do owe him at least some kind of a birthday wish. So anybody want to sing?
Dr. Murder said he would lead us.
Or at least everybody all at once.
All right,
Do.
ready, everybody?
So,
Okay.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Thank you. Point of order, I don't see that on the.
be sure to get some birthday cake right in the back. All right, Keith, thank you for that moment.
Follow it up with the exciting topic of our SFCC credit opinion. So we got through it, we got through an audit. And this gives the data. Moody's basically interprets the data for us on par with every other public university. We are grouped in with all public universities are grouped in the exact same class. So we are grouped in with ourselves all the way up to the University of Texas. And we're all, so when we're being compared to everybody, not just sciences. They do that every 2 years. They use our audit from 2024 as the basis, but then I had a long discussion with them in August, September, that I gave them a lot more supplemental information based upon our closing books at the time for FY25. Even though they weren't audited, that we want to see where we stood there. So this is very, very recent data. Couple of things to point out here. If you read it, it's a pretty good synopsis of where we stand, what we stand. It shows how they rate us, quantitative factors. We're always going to be challenged with a great rating because we're small. I mean, we're just small. And so we don't have, $1 billion in reserves, but we do very well. We were rated this year, by the way, an A3 stable rating, which is probably the best that anyone's going to get here. I put another note in there that at the same time we were being audited here, Moody's themselves downgraded the entire public university sector from stable to negative, meaning that we had to buck that trend to get a stable rating. Because they are not, they do not feel good about the state of public universities and their financial situation and with the uncertainty that's out there. So that's one part good. One thing I want to point out in here too, that maybe I had to understand. You look at on page 2, you'll see there's a thing that says total adjusted debt, says that we have $115 million in debt. Well, obviously, we don't have $115 million worth of debt with our buildings. We have maybe 15 or 20. They take the pension liability we have with the state of Missouri, and they readjust it to their figures. On our books, we have about 25 million. Their belief is that's woefully short, and they adjust. So most of that debt that you're seeing there is related to that. So, and that amount of debt makes a lot of our ratios very difficult to get into the high categories, and that's completely out of control. So when you look at those, some of the things that we do control over and see what we do well, you will see, if you go back to page 6, where they actually have the ratings. You'll notice on there that we have, our operating performance, meaning basically how are we doing on operational, and we're rated an A there. I mean, anything with a capital A is exceptional. That was our operating environment. Then you go to our financial resources, liquidity, also an A. Total cash and investments, also an A. Cash investment operating expenses, A, double A, which is good. Basically, all the other ratings are strong A's. We get marked down what they call scale and market profile because we're small. But literally, they're saying their perspective of our operations is very, very strong. I put it compared to the entire sector. So I was very happy with this. I'm very happy to have someone like Moody's who literally looks at every university out there. They treat us the same. I spent spent a lot of data, a lot of talking. I also want to say, I'm going to ask a little personal thing here. There was a young lady we worked out with her many years. I need to know these people pretty well. Maybe it's called Nicole Pantry. And then Married to Sailors are person that rates us now. It was when the airline accident happened over the Potomac. I was looking at, they were announcing the list of people, saw the name in there. Our analysts had worked for years with no accident. So to think that these things aren't real, I mean, they do affect. So anyway, it was, it's the first time I ever had anyone I get to know these people. So we have a young lady now, you'll see the name in the back of Michelle Saylor back there. They're working with us, but they do work very closely with us. I talk to them throughout the year, So anyway, I do want to point this out. This is the audit is good, but this is someone else's interpretation of how we doing it to be. And I would say this is a very good opinion. Independent outside saying that we're doing well, guys.
Well, that's really saying that financial movements. On a capital expenditures we've taken on, that significant amount taken on, maintain stable Moody's rating really shows financial strength, real indicator.
They dive deep. Let's just say that. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that. I think it's important for you to see that. And just something from an outside viewpoint of how we're doing. That always helps.
Do we have on the agenda the Davis Multipurpose Center HVAC units and control?
Well, HVAC units, our HVAC units are getting old, wearing out. So we were recently, we with Justin on board, Justin David, he's done a good job. He's going through and looking at all of our systems right now. And in the course of that, they came across, we were 2 of the units on the Davis Multipurpose Center, units not over the main gym, but units over some of the classroom areas along the sides and and the back areas where the baseball, all that kind of upstairs stuff is. We're not working, basically. We went to check them out and they had a catastrophic failure. It was not a fixable problem. So we have 2 units that we need to replace there. That's why I build contingencies into our budget. It's like this. So we are getting them replaced through Train. So it's recommended the Board of Trustees accept the bid from Train US Inc. of Lenexa, Kansas for the purchase of 2 25-ton President unitary rooftop AC units and controls, and the total amount of $56,350 for the office areas, the multipurpose center. Price is based upon Train's Omnia Partners Cooperative Purchasing State Contract. Funding is our FY 2026 operating budget, specifically the contingency funds. We'll get these in as soon as we have, so we're ready for rain.
Any questions or discussion? Say aye. Same sign. Motion passes. Now the Davis Multipurpose Center Gymnasium for resurfacing.
Paving with the Davis Multipurpose Center. I don't know how many, but every several years, every 5 years or so, how many, 10? Every 10 years, we do a major resurfacing of the gym floor, to strip it down bare and put it back new. And when it's time for that major resurfacing, we put out bids earlier this year. We had 1 bid returned. But luckily it looks like a good one. It was also one I know that Darren was particularly glad on it. So it's recommended, and we knew we were doing it, so we built it into this year's budget. It's recommended that the Board of Trustees accept the bid from Rawls Lubert, Floors at Jefferson City Mo for the resurfacing and repainting the MPC gymnasium floor, in the amount of $52,628. This was the only bid received. Again, funding is in the FY 26 operating budget.
Discussion.
Yes, we knew it was gonna be this amount last year, because we've been planning on this since literally last summer. We actually put it off from last summer to this year, so we can have money in.
Favor say aye. Same sign. Motion passes. And then, sure, telephony.
Telephony.
Telephony. I thought I should look that up, see how you pronounce that. Infrastructure migration.
Well, I have a couple of folks here who know a lot more about this than you or I. I'm gonna let them explain to you what we're doing, why we're doing it, and the benefits of doing it much better than I can write down. Plus, they've been sitting here all day and
Why they stay?
they stayed, so. Daniel, give you the floor.
All right.
Daniel Hamilton, guys.
So we've, I believe it was the write-up that I gave in
Yes,
in their packet. So you have.
You can summarize it for them.
Sure, yep. So basically, we've had a Cisco telephone system for about almost 20 years, I think, at this point. Really, it's the same system we've had. We've refreshed the hardware once, I believe. Obviously upgraded a whole bunch of versions of software. But unfortunately, the version we're on is not current due to a variety of reasons. We're behind on that, and so we have to address that. We need support on that going forward. And quite frankly, things have changed a lot. COVID kind of brought that to the forefront. Remote work, we're not all at our desk with a physical phone anymore. And so we were able to make some shifts with the current system and support that remote work, but not as effectively as we would like to. So we've kind of been on the back burner for quite a while, and that's part of why the other system hadn't been kept up as well. Kept thinking we were going to move. And so now we're really at a point where, again, we have a renewal coming up next month. So we have to do something. And so believe the best option is to go ahead and migrate to the cloud. They basically gave us 2 quotes. They said, well, here's what it costs to get you your current system to a supported version. Or we can basically do the same amount of work and get you off of that into WebEx calling. So we don't have to replace hardware. With this, we were able to continue using those phones. If we look at other competitors, we would probably have an additional $50,000 spend. So this is our best option. Modernizes us a bit, gets a little more secure and simplified the login and
So,
Yeah.
plain, so we no longer have hardware on site hosting this. We have hardware
Correct.
right now hosting this, right? On site.
yes, the servers, all the infrastructure for the phone system is located in the data center down the hall, right? And so
So we would have had to replace all of that.
yes, yeah. It's more software than hardware on that at this point, but yes, yeah. This gets all that up into the cloud. You still have our telephone service or how we get out, kind of like we get out to the internet, we get out to the public telephone system through Socket. This is not part of that, but this is just where the phone on the desk or the mobile app connects to. Instead of here, it connects to the cloud.
So we're bringing that into the 21st century.
So when people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does this also address, and I don't know if we currently do this, maybe something we do. You have a way working remotely. Is it easily to transfer a call to them? Does this help solve some of that too at the same time or?
Yeah, this, I would argue it's actually fairly easy to do that now, but this definitely should improve that. We've had some issues with the mobile app that we're currently using. This mobile app will be much more reliable that way and for sure.
A better experience for our students and calling in.
Anyway. Okay. So let's recommend the board of trustees accept the bid from CDWG of Chicago for migration of our telephony infrastructure from the on-premise Cisco Unified Call Manager. The contract was expiring in January 2026 to the cloud-based WebEx calling service. Since installation is $49,708.75. The first year license cost of $26,238. EFG pricing is based upon E&I's Cooperative Solutions contract. Funding is in the 2026 budget because we knew this contract was going to be expiring.
To approve. Any questions or discussion? So what are the chances of it going down? I guess
Yeah, we have redundant internet infrastructure, so it's very, very low here, I would say.
On wood.
Yeah, right.
it's true. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. The same sign. Motion passes. Thank you so much. All right, Dr. Bates. Birthday almost going.
Right, so calendar of events, tomorrow's my birthday. So in honor of that, we're giving everybody a half day off. Tomorrow for the winter break and reopens on January 5th. President's office will be open on December 30th for our finals and candidate. Otherwise campuses. So I'll call your attention to a couple of other things on the calendar. Besides that, one of those day as part of the calendar, you see we were at the commencement ceremonies. We had a wonderful commencement. Movies in both for the college and for the AU. And for the Dr. Murders and his team, again, for one ceremony, but seeing all those good stories, especially in the AL program, what we're doing. And it's so. I want to thank everybody for impacting students and in their goals. The last thing out on the calendar, we have weekend basketball season starting in January, and in the January and February, we will be having the community nights at the Fred events like we had last year. So the first community night at the Fred is January 10th. And that'll be, I'll send you the flyer for it with all the attendance, with all the dates, but on January 10th, I think at Three Rivers Community College, it's a great basketball game. And we will recognize service clubs, chambers of commerce. This year, we're gonna try to involve our extended campuses, so on January 10th, FCC students and staff from Boonville to. So, Lynn Turley is leading that day with operational. So, looking forward to the events. And if you're a part of Service Club, a chamber, or SFCC Boonville, you can get a ticket for a free hamburger. So. So that's on the calendar. I did want to also, I just closed out my agenda, but asked that president's report better if somebody else gives part of that report. That's my strategy here. Ask Keith to give us an update on our new implementation of Blue Horizon. Otherwise known as now.
Yeah, sometimes known as.
Inside jokes, sorry.
The Blue Horizon is our project name for moving our ERP system from the current on-premise banner systems put in place, roughly 20 years ago, probably, to a much more versatile, much more powerful, much more user-friendly cloud-based platform. It will be an implementation of anywhere from probably close to a year and a half, maybe a little less than that, but could be a 12, 15 to 18 month cycle. We're just getting started on. We have a whole team from Lucian working with on this. I'm heading up the project management team on there. Kelly Gardner helping me out. I got Emily Westermeyer helping out as well. They'll be doing a lot of heavy lifting, and then we have an entire group of subject matter experts that's being led through the IT group with Tammy. But everybody will be at some point be involved. This is a significant move forward for us. We got to think of it as the same thing as building a building. It's I won't say quite that much, but the cost is substantial. And the level, and we're acting as kind of our own subcontractor. We got to do a lot of work. So we're getting started. The kickoff meeting with subject matter teams is with the Lucian team. When we get back on the 8th January, and then we will start migrating things. When folk come back, maybe you're familiar with the MySFCC portal, which everybody goes into to do their time. They do it for acquisitions. Students look at bills. That system will actually move over to a new portal that is cloud-based, part of this implementation, literally on January 5th when people come back. IFCC will go away, be replaced with what's called Banner Experience, or just Experience. And it will be an updated version of just an easier way to navigate through a lot of things and menus. So that started out, then we'll have the bill that comes with all of the data we have out there, and all the ways we do are transferred into a new. So it will be good when it's done. It will take a lot of effort to get there, and we started right away, and we have the commitment to make it happen from Dr. Bates, Dr. Murders, myself, and I think everybody. That's the update. We'll keep that update along the way. Right, if I need once an occasion to give someone a hug, because I'm not very good at that, but if we need her, I'll get her. So that's the update on, anyway, that. Any questions right now? All one matter to go forward. No, I don't know much more than that now.
That does as well, really.
Yeah.
FCC.
Yes.
Experience.
It will affect you in that regard, yes. And that's probably that part will be fairly intuitive. It's the interface is fairly straightforward. It's actually an easier interface than it is now. It's less menus and more point and touch.
Yeah, went to watch Allison on the hugging part. So.
I'm gonna say Keith's had me several times.
Well, that's just because it's you.
Oh, I've got this.
You're supposed to say that.
All right, that's the end of my report. Oh, I'm sorry. I closed out the agenda. I couldn't get a call back. Oh, so Sam, could you give it on the website? The experience, if you want to add anything else on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, really digging into the new website project with Modern Campus. Right now we've been kind of going through the new website architecture, kind of looking at how that's going to be laid out. It's going to be a lot more student focused. So the website is basically the most dynamic we have. Students, so we're building the website with that in mind, making sure that all the appropriate offices and resources are displayed in a way where they can find them very quick. As well as the program pages, that's going to be kind of in line with our Mentimeter structures and everything like that. We're kind of taking a look at everything and getting all that lined out right now. Something I'm pretty excited about is we've actually secured additional user licenses. So we were kind of looking at the process for how we were going to go, the information that we need all put over to the new website. It's quite a task, and then you have to maintain that information and make sure that it stays current. So after chatting with some colleagues actually at the MCCA conference, we found that they typically have a few more hands in there that are helping manage that content. So what we'll be doing is designating content editors who will have limited access where they can actually propose their edits to the website directly. And then that in turn goes to marketing communications for us to approve. So that's going to help us keep the information on the website a lot more dynamic. And it also gives people with subject matter experts in their area the opportunity to make changes directly. I'm really excited about that. It's going to help us down the road after this website is launched. And it's also going to be a critical part of the website migration where people are actually going to put that information over there into the new site. And again, Marcom will still retain full control over that. We get to green light everything. Nobody can be turning the website green and pink. Make sure that won't be an option. We've been poking around a little bit in the CMS, kind of the back end of the website, seeing how that works. All that is very intuitive, and we were looking into getting into some training with Modern Campus here in late January, early February. We'll dive into that. After that, we've been the content migration process. That's kind of the heavy lift. We're getting all the information to the new website, and ideally we'll be in early summer. That's moving along.
So you carry forward. It's legit. We're building two big. Is about what's the primary focus on the website?
Definitely students. We've been taking a lot of student focus, and then secondary to that, like we want to make sure that we still have like our community. And so as we've been running out the navigation of what we want that to look like, designed specifically to get that information in the hands of students as quickly and efficiently.
What group of students you're looking at? As far as recruiting students.
Oh, yes, yes,
Student.
yeah, recruiting.
Students, yeah.
Mhm.
It's on the. Not question. Y'all do the about graduation
Of the video there, but yeah, that came out of our office.
It's really neat. Where the dreamers go over the graduates at the end, that's a really good picture.
We were particularly excited about that footage, and that one shot made our entire night. I knew that was gonna happen, and Dawson obviously is just a phenomenal videographer. We got the opportunity to actually get a drone up there and get that shot, and we were really excited to do it.
It was, well, that this afternoon. Did you see the drone? I didn't see the drone. But I wondered how he got the shot, but it was to see the video if you haven't.
We're proud of that team. They did an awesome job that night.
Anything else to add on experience or?
I think you pretty much covered it. It's one thing we're hearing from folks is it's a lot more intuitive. You know, a lot of people are getting in there and trying some of the new features and not requiring a lot of hand holding or a lot of instruction on how to figure that out there.
All right, that's my report.
Debates. All right, now we're ready for the financial report, of course, informational only.
I want to add that for both the web update and the project, we are taking advantage of the reserves we want to have over the last couple of years. And for that probably without that, it would have been a little more difficult to implement these. So we are taking advantage of that and getting this done while we can. Next on the agenda is financial report. This is effectively the end of the fall semester report. Revenues in, we kind of start in December, we'll start seeing the second semester work here. See that our revenues are up overall about $1 million year over year. You'll see the expenses are up a little more than that, about 1.3 million year over year. One thing I want to point out in here, and we'll talk more about this in January, there are two things driving on the expense. You'll see if you look at the items of academic support, of student services, and lastly of operations and maintenance. Those are basically, in many cases, lower than this time last year, right in line. There's two areas, the instruction side, operation, maintenance, and plant that are a bit, the institutional support, they're a bit higher than last year. Two things are driving that. One is, I mentioned it before, our enhancement grant funds we're spending earlier this year, that goes into the instruction side because we're buying instructional equipment. That will even out the course that goes along. On the institutional support side, that will continue to be that 600,000 or so more than it was last year, a little over budget, because that's where the Blue Horizon Banner SAS project funds went. We've had to already pay upfront for that. We'll go over more detail in January on the January meeting about the budget impact of that. But you'll see that most of that differential is to support is the upfront payment for a lot of that SAS, and there will be more of that as well. So we'll give a little more detail on that, but that is but otherwise, if I look at it, but still, we'll see we're still on top, bottom line budget on target. See, we're better when we were leaving, 24 and 23. And remember, last year was a very, very strong year in regard. So even with, like I say, with that spend, we're able to maintain, I think, a very favorable financial position. Expenses, the 1025,000 expenses that were not bid out, but top report on. We spent 13,655 in some farm fence supplies for the farm. Monitor litho for the $1,980 to print the Marathon magazine. Various athletic supplies to game one at 15,000 and change. There were stage lines of 13,655 for charters. And lastly, 12,150 for a load of the campus.
On the agenda, board discussion. Okay. Here. Jingle on the Green. December. Nation, we had a good turnout by everybody that was there. Program as well as just participants around. And that even led to the harp and the violinist for the graduation, which was, I heard the story a little bit about. So really saw that, we thought, should we need to have that at graduation, and that's a nice addition to graduation. Graduation was.
I will say, this is board discussion, not president's discussion, but concerning the board, Richard, Patty, and Jeff are planning to attend the ACC legislative summit in February. We also have a student, a former student going with us. And she is a graduate of our program and graduated from State Fair Community College with a childhood education degree. She's the director, I think. We'll speak on the benefits of the AL program and our AL group. So Lisa's making those arrangements, but that's one of our topics of discussion is the importance of that program.
Anything else?
We have heard several comments about the quality of the concert, this concert on Thompson.
So our next Board of Trustee meeting will be Thursday, January the 22nd, 2025. And that is your birthday. It's actually the birthday.
Dr. Leonards will be working on his leading of it.
Yeah. All right, so being no further business, we will be going into closed session. However, after closed session, we will then immediately adjourn because there is no more items on the agenda. So I would entertain a motion to approve going into closed session for legal actions, causes of action or litigation pursuant to RSM 0.11. Purchase or sale of real estate pursuant to RSMO section 610.0212. And hiring, firing, disciplining, or promotion of personnel pursuant to RSMO section 610.021.
So you get all of that?
Do I hear a second?
I think we should note that on the purchase or sale of real estate, we're continuing discussion that was earlier evening.
Hebert Pierce? Yes. Carr?
Yes.
Hobbs?
Yes.
Yes. Wood?
We request Sam to stay as well as Dr. Murders. And
Help yourself to some.
yes, have a birthday cake.
Yes.
Wait. He's saying, you know, this time.
Need that.
Yeah. No, you need the energy.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Remote.
We had that conversation.
Let me tell you what you need to do for a date. Go to the Fox Theater in Fulton.
Oh, I was gonna ask you, was there a time?
Oh my gosh, I mean, even if you don't go for a show, this place is like, I can't even describe it. It's so beautiful. So, because it's built in the 1920s. It's not like, not just little, it's humongous.